Hey folks, I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. Here we're cleaning and reassembling a Tissot 2481 movement. So this is a movement that comes from an old Tissot watch I'm repairing, and I'm hand cleaning this movement as opposed to putting it in the machine because I think it needs a little bit more care than the machine would give it. I'm using lighter fluid and I'm using a very fine brush to do this. And when I do it, I try to make sure the screws stay in the same place. As you can see, it's quite an interesting process to clean it properly in lighter fluid. I find that it doesn't leave any residue and definitely works. I've been using it for years on pocket watches. So this is a pretty small watch. It's a Tissot, so it's high quality. It's a fully automatic watch. I did a previous video on how it's disassembled. And here I'm just making sure that I'm cleaning every one of the plates that I've got for this particular watch to clean. And I'm paying particular attention to the parts and the pivots and the jewels. And later on, I examine the jewels under a microscope to make sure there's no problems with the jewels, in that they might be cracked or some other issue that the jewels would have. Now I'm looking at the movement here under a microscope, and I'm actually getting into the parts I've cleaned already, but I'm trying to make sure they're extra clean. Now I've got the barrel here, and I've opened the cap up of the barrel, and I've got the mainspring in, and I'm cleaning the barrel and the barrel cap in lighter fluid as well. I'm walking out the mainspring. I put a piece of Rodico over the mainspring arbor to make sure that it doesn't fly onto the carpet, and I didn't want to spend the next 10 years looking for it. And later on you'll see what I mean when I do the reassembly in this video. So here I clean the mainspring up, and then I scrub-a-dub-dub the barrel and the barrel cap and the arbor as well. Although the arbor doesn't really get that dirty, but I scrub that as well and let that dry off. So I'm using watch paper here to let that dry off, and dragging it on the watch paper so that the liquid kind of spreads on the watch paper, and I've got no issue. And I've got a handheld puffer, and it just helps the drying process, supports speeding up the drying process. Then I clean it with Rodico after, so I make sure that the surfaces are absolutely cleaned. Now here I'm putting it in my bench block to make sure I know which way the hook goes on the arbor, so I can try to put that thing on. So these are Bergeon mainspring winders, but guess what? They're the wrong direction. I kept looking at them thinking, okay, it goes this way and then it goes that way. So if I do this, then it's that way. And if it's not, then it's the other way. So I got a whole bunch of other mainspring winders that I've had for years, and trying to fit the right mainspring winder in here so I can figure out how to get this back in the barrel. I did manage to find the right winder and fit that in, and you'll see when I start winding that in to the barrel how it works. It's an interesting vintage mainspring winder. And here we go, winding it in. Now I've done 8 times speed on this video, so it's a lot slower normally than this. So wind it right in this time, because it's an automatic mainspring with a forked tongue on the end that rubs against the barrel. And here I'm actually trying to get the mainspring winder, the end that goes into the spring, out, so it'll unhook from the tab. Very, very tricky. I did not want to pull it out and then have the whole mainspring come flying out on me. It took a little while, but eventually I got it out perfectly, and then I was able to push the mainspring into the barrel. And that's that. Clean up all the parts and get ready for the next phase of this job. Put those winders back because they were no darn good. I may have to get myself a set of counterclockwise winders. So here I'm looking at the barrel and making sure that I put this, oil the arbor just slightly and put the cap on, and then push the barrel down. And then I rub I rub it with Rodico after I've oiled it, and roll the teeth in Rodico to get anything that might be on the teeth. I put a glove on for that. There's my watch. So here I'm oiling the inside of the plate very carefully, and I'm looking at the gears and what gears to put in first. So I had some photos that I took of the movement as I was disassembling it which helped me figure out what to do here. But I did realize that I wanted to put the pallet fork in first and have that lined up properly before I put the escapement wheel in. So, because I knew I could put the pallet fork in and not be bothered with having the jewels of the pallet fork hitting the escapement, the feet of the escapement wheel. So I put the fork in first, and I'm oiling other areas of the watch that need oil. There's the barrel, make sure that's free. And there is the plate that goes over the barrel. So this is tricky as heck. So here, there's a spring that you'll see in a few seconds that actually holds the click. So it's maybe called the click spring. But I ended up losing that on the carpet. So I did not find it, and I had to make myself a new click spring. Luckily, I had bought some very thin wire a few years ago that I'll never run out of. And I used that wire to shape a new click spring after. But here I'm just putting more plates in and aligning them up properly, make sure they're aligned and not going to crush any pivots before I screw things down. So be very careful. I don't tighten anything unless I know that the pivots are through the jewel holes. Now here I'm continuing to put the wheels in, various wheels, center wheel, other wheels. And this is an automatic movement, so it's a little more complex than your normal movement. And then I realize I place this in, and I think after I realize that I have to have the click spring underneath this, and I'm lining that up to see if there is a good fit here, how that would work. So, but I don't screw this in place right away. I take that out, and I realize I've got to do some work on the actual click spring later. There we go. So I take the ratchet wheel out, and then I take out the so there's the wire I used, and to make the new click I had to bend that into shape and then put that underneath, and I had to make sure it wasn't so thick that the ratchet wheel would rub against it, and turns out it was perfect, worked perfectly. And then I'm putting the click in here very carefully and making sure that the click actually works properly. Make sure it's functioning properly. A little bit of test with a screwdriver, and then we're good. Click's working, all's good. Fashioned a spring. Now you can see that I've got the screws in a drawing, and I made the drawing of the plate to make sure I put the screws back exactly where I got them from. And here I'm aligning the stem, the crown wheel, and other wheels. It's a little tricky, but there's a hole in the side that allowed me to move a lever up while I was putting this in. So it took a lot longer than it's showing here, but once I was able to figure out how to put that stem in properly, there's it's actually like a U shape with two lips on either side, and you have to have it below that. So you got to bring it down first and then up. So I trialed that, and then I said, okay, now that I got that trialed, let me see if I can put the components back in again and ride them in. This took quite a while. This is probably one of the more frustrating parts of putting a watch back together again. It's not easy. So I press the button down, and the button gets the stem out of the way, and then play with it until it's clicked. There's the two thumbs. We're good to go. And now I'm putting the plate back, and the plate had the diagram with the screws in the appropriate place sitting on Rodico. And here I'm under the microscope. I did a little bit of work under there to make sure everything was aligned with the pivots. And now I can put the screws in successfully. I don't tighten those until I'm sure that that plate is down all the way, and then I know I can tighten it. And here I'm just cleaning up a little bit of stuff. I have a brush that I use, and the cleaning did not take away all the grease, the dried up stuff, so I used another device that I have that allowed me to brush it away. And I'm oiling some of the gears here as I continue on. And now I'm going to have a look at this wheel here, which is What's this wheel called? Anybody know? Give me some hints. Now this wheel only has one screw in it because the second screw, the one on the right, comes from the top plate. You'll see that a little later. It's an odd configuration, so I had to figure out which screw to put in, and I picked the right one. And there we go. So I'm screwing down the automatic movement plate with its gears and making sure that that's aligned before I tighten it. And then we're good to go on that. And I'm doing a little bit more oiling here. And I even put some oil on the center of the plate. So here I've went under the microscope. I did some work on put the cannon pinion back in on the watch, and then make sure everything's functioning. Flip it over and put it in the movement holder again because it's got to be ready to receive the balance. Putting the balance in is a little tricky. I use my tweezers to move it around, pick it up, try to get it into the right place. It wasn't simple. It's not as simple as a pocket watch because these watches can be very dainty. But I did finally get it in place and running. There we go. It's running now. And I can put the balance cock screw in, and that's it. So thanks for watching this video. It worked really well, and I was quite happy that I got some success.